Hey y'all! So today is Monday, March 5th. I'm just leaving work, and I would like to say that there's no GPS on today because I think I have memorized how to at least get home. And by get home, I mean to my parents' house and obviously my house because it's in the same area. So I am not going to annoy you guys with the sound of my GPS system. But this vlog, I wanted to come to tell you guys, I didn't vlog over the weekend. I was supposed to film a home decor haul for you guys, and it was going to be an epic one. It was big because I've been doing a lot of shopping, unplanned, and been catching a lot of deals. So I've been holding off to do this huge home decor haul for you guys, and I went to go and do that on Saturday, and I would like to tell you guys what happened. No, I went to go do it on Sunday, and I would like to tell you guys about my weekend, okay? Because it was not a good one. It was a nightmare. Disaster. That's what I'm gonna name this vlog post. Disaster at the new house. Okay? Are you guys ready? So, I went to closing settlement, as you guys know, on Friday, March 2nd. And at that time, the seller of the house, mind you, in case you don't know, the property that I brought was an investor flip property. So an investor brought it for cheap and then put a lot of money into it for renovations and then flipped it within a couple of months, and I purchased it. So just a little background on the property. Anyway, I went to closing. Closing was scheduled originally for February 28th, which was Wednesday. That didn't happen, so we rescheduled for March the 2nd, Friday, and it did happen. However, the night before settlement, she reached out to my realtor to let me know that the water heater was beyond repair, and they didn't know that until then. So she gave me an option to get a credit at the closing table, like in the documents, meaning I could pay whatever the credit amount was. I could pay that amount less at the closing table, or to allow her to send a contractor over the morning of settlement to replace the water heater with a brand new water heater. Of course, I went for the latter because I already had some credit she was giving me for other things in the house that I was going to have to take care of myself, and this was just going to be one less headache that I had to deal with. So I said, sure, go do it the morning of settlement. Settlement was at 1 o'clock anyway. I was expecting for her to come and let me know, hey, everything's good, we did it, it's fine. So we get to settlement. I sign all my paperwork. I'm the first one there. I sign all my paperwork. I'm done. So I wait. She shows up. She signs her bit of paperwork. And again, her paperwork is nothing compared to mine because she's just selling. So that's just a tip. If you're selling a property, it's a much smoother closing than if you're actually the purchaser. And don't worry about my nails, guys. I need to either take them off or get them done. So she signs hers. So we're talking, you know, across the table, and like I told you, she's just making small talk, very nice, like, oh, I didn't know you were this young, I thought you were a first-time home buyer, you know, blah blah blah. And so she tells me that, hey, we put in the new water heater, which I will give her. It was a really good water heater, a top brand. She gave me a water heater that was more than capable of functioning for that size house. So I do appreciate that. She didn't cheap out on the water heater. However, she said that they installed it, but they couldn't test it because in the DMV area there was a bad windstorm that day and the day before, and honestly that day they closed the federal government because of the windstorm. So that area that I lived in, that city that I lived in, lost power. So she said we couldn't test it because everything in my house runs on electricity. And so she says, we put it in, we think it's working, but we don't know. So when you go to the property, you test it. And if there's anything wrong with it, just let me know and I'll send my contractor back over. I said, okay, no problem. We go to closing, no problem. I did not end up going to my house that Friday night of closing because my area did not get power until 10 p.m. So I went home because I was tired. I went to my parents' house and they still were without power. However, my parents have a generator, so we had power for the things that we absolutely needed. But there was no power in that area. So I didn't go to my house because I knew there was no power and it was going to be, you know, cold and stuff. So I went first thing the next morning, which was Saturday morning. I turned on the main water to the house because it had been turned off since she purchased the house, because I don't know if there was a problem with the water heater, or obviously there was because it couldn't be repaired, but so I turned on the main water to the house, and me and my friends start going through the house, turning on all the faucets, turning on all the sprinklers, not the sprinklers, turning on all of the showers and everything, just to make sure everything worked. And of course, because water hadn't been on in the property for so long, of course we had to let the water run for a little while, and there was like, it took a while for the water pressure to build up to what it should have been and stuff like that or whatever. But all in all, the water was flowing and everything was fine. So I don't say anything. I leave my property around 2 p.m. because my family and I had to go to my best friend's father's birthday dinner celebration. So I leave my house, I turn off all the faucets, I leave the house, and we go to the celebration. And the celebration was kind of far out, and so it lasted kind of late into the evening. So I told myself, you know what? I'm going to pack up my car tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, with all of the new home decor that I had purchased. I'm going to head over to the house in the morning and film that video for you guys in the daylight, because there's so much daylight that shines through the house. The lighting is going to be nice. I know it. So that's exactly what I did. And my plan was, after I filmed the video, I was going to then go back to my parents' house, load up my car again with more stuff, because I still have more home decor that I've already hauled for you guys that needs to be moved over. But the first trip, I was just going to haul the new stuff that I wanted to show you. I wanted to film the video with nobody else in the house, no more distractions. And then I was going to go back to my parents' house, load up again, and also load up my parents' truck, and my mom was going to drive that over so that we could kind of move double the stuff. So I pack up my car with all the new stuff, and I head over to my house. I open my front door, and I am greeted by the sight of water pouring from my basement ceiling, okay, onto the floor. Water everywhere on the floor, okay? And I could hear water gushing from somewhere, but I had no idea where it was coming from. When I tell you guys, I freaked out. Like, here I am standing at my door with my hands full of home decor stuff, and I swing the door open, and there's water just coming down. Like, I'm laughing now because, it happened yesterday, but I was not laughing yesterday. Like, I was not laughing yesterday. And I have the type of personality where I just freak out. And so having an experience like that is not good for me. Like, I don't function well in situations like that. So I drop all the home decor. Like, luckily the stuff that I had in my hand wasn't the glass stuff, because literally I just drop it to the floor and I just start screaming like, oh my God. So I go into the basement and I see the water still coming down and everything, and there's water all over the floor. And I'm just like, oh my God, my floors. And the floors are laminate tile, but they look like wood. And even my inspector told me, hey, don't mop these floors with a lot of water. Use a Swiffer or something, because you can actually warp these tiles and you don't want to. Mind you, there's been puddles of standing water and sitting water just sitting on these tiles since what I presume 2 p.m. the day before. And I think I got to my house somewhere around 10:30, 11 a.m. yesterday is when I found the disaster, okay? So I'm like, okay, the water is coming from the ceiling. That means it's coming from upstairs. So I run upstairs. I can hear water gushing from somewhere. So I finally go into the powder room on the main level by the kitchen, and I hear the sound of water, but there's nothing coming out of the faucet in the sink. So I'm just confused, like, where's this water coming from? So I pull out the drawers of the vanity, and I see that water is gushing from the piping underneath the sink. It's just gushing out, and I couldn't stop it. I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do. So I ran downstairs and cut off the main water supply. However, that did not stop the water from gushing out of those pipes. It was just still coming out, and water was all over the floor upstairs. And luckily it went all over the floor in the bathroom and came out of the bathroom, but it didn't go in the dining room or the eating kitchen area, it just went straight down to the basement, and that's why it was coming down. So I called my friend who lives a couple doors down, and I'm like, hey, get your husband over here. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I can't get the water to stop even though I turned the main water off. I didn't have enough strength to turn the knobs under the vanity. So he came over and he's like, what's going on? Like, you know, blah, blah, blah. So he finally is able to turn a knob underneath the sink and the water stops, okay? So now we're in Operation Cleanup mode. So my mom had just given me like a six-pack of paper towels just to start me out. And so that pack is totally gone, obviously. I had no towels or blankets or anything in the house because I hadn't moved anything in. And so my friends, they go a couple doors down to their house and they're bringing buckets, and then I'm calling my parents like freaking out, and they're like, okay, we're on our way, like we're gonna bring mops, we're gonna bring buckets. So they get there like 10 minutes later, and luckily we had cleaned up the water upstairs in the powder room, because where the vanity is positioned in the bathroom, most of the water ran straight down to the basement. So there was water on the floor in the powder room, but with a couple of rolls of paper towels, we were able to get all that water up. Downstairs was the problem. The drywall was soaked, okay? Even after we cleaned up the water and stopped it from gushing out of the pipes upstairs, water was still dripping from the drywall and the ceiling downstairs. So my parents came with the mops and buckets, and they got up the majority of the water that was sitting on the floor. We put the buckets underneath where the water was coming down from the ceiling. And my friends went back to their house and got fans, because we were just like, we got to dry it up somehow. So we left the fans on. So I'm calling my realtor like, you know, frantically or whatever. So he calls me back and he's like, what's going on? I tell him, he's like, okay, I'm gonna get the seller on the phone because I tested the water and there was an issue. So like you said, you need to send your contractor over. So apparently my realtor calls me back to let me know what the outcome of the conversation was with the seller, and her initial response was, well, how come you guys didn't know about this sooner? So I'm trying to be a good person now. I'm trying to be a changed person. So I didn't go off. I continued to listen to him, and then he said, you know, but he basically told her what I would have told her in nicer terms, and then she agreed to send her contractor over, but her contractor didn't work on Sunday, so it would have to be Monday. Well, that really wasn't that good for me, because I had to go to work today because I'm going to be off tomorrow for other things. So I was just like, okay, well, if he can't come today and he has to do it tomorrow, obviously we got to get it done tomorrow. That's fine. I just won't be there. So on top of that, on Saturday, when I went to the house to test the water, I said, it's really cold in here, and the temperature was set to 55 degrees. Cold. So I set the temperature to 73 degrees, and I said, good. The next time I come back, it'll feel normal in the house. I come back Sunday morning to the water disaster, and the house is still freezing. I go upstairs and look at the thermostat. It says 56 degrees. So the heat doesn't work in the house. So I get my realtor to tell her that as well. And again, her response was, well, why didn't you guys know about this sooner? You know, blah, 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 whatever. So she agrees to have her contractor come over tomorrow, which is today. All during today, my realtor has been contacting her, trying to figure out, okay, what's the plan for the contractor coming? And she just keeps saying, oh, I couldn't get a hold of him. I'll send somebody else if he doesn't get back to me. Then she said, oh, I got a hold of him. He's supposed to call, you know, your buyer, me. I never received a call from anyone today. So I'm headed to the house now to drop off some more home decor that I had in my car from the second trip that I made yesterday. And I don't know if I'm expecting to walk in and see changes or not, because I never heard from anybody. You know, the person that she said I was supposed to hear from, I don't know. So I'm a little frustrated. That was my yesterday. My concern is that I need her to replace the drywall in the ceiling and in the walls in the basement. And my concern is that she's not going to want to eat that cost. She's going to just want to repair certain areas of the drywall, because you can see where the drywall got ruined and was peeling and stuff in certain places because you had water sitting on it and running through it for, you know, almost what I would presume 24 hours. I don't exactly know when the water started gushing out. I just know that I left the property at 2 p.m. Saturday and didn't come back until Sunday around 11 a.m. and there was quite a bit of water downstairs. So it had been doing that for hours upon hours. So that's my concern. In the heat situation, I would like to have heat, obviously. You know, who doesn't want to have heat? So yeah, I'm going to head home now and deal with that situation. But I just wanted to let you guys know that that was my Sunday. And I don't know if you guys, a lot of you guys follow me on IG. So after that, I had been eyeing a vase from Z Gallery, a cerulean color vase that I really, really wanted. But the vase was $70, and I'm not paying $70 for a vase. So I waited for it to go on clearance. It did, and it was on clearance for more than I was willing to pay. It finally went down to 20 bucks. So I said, I gotta get that vase, but I couldn't order it online. You had to call around. So I called one of my local stores, and they told me they had one, and they would hold it for me, but only till the end of the day because it was a clearance item. So I had to drive out there to go and pick it up. So after that whole situation yesterday, my family and I, we drive out there, we go to pick up my vase, and I see another vase that I had already ordered in the same color. I had already ordered it, and it was on back order for like 6 to 7 weeks apparently, but it was a $170 vase. I think I got it for 50 bucks, yeah. And they actually had one on site at the store. So I was going to cancel my original order and just take that one home, but because I ordered it online, I couldn't cancel it in the store, and they weren't sure if I could cancel the order at all because it was a clearance item. So then my mom talks me into just getting both, because she's like, oh, well, you can decorate with both of these vases in your master bedroom. And the vases are huge. They're floor vases, and they're really, really pretty, and they're still available now online. I don't remember the name of them, but it's cerulean and it has silver on the top of it. If I remember, I'll insert a picture of it. But I paid like $47 and some change for that one yesterday. So I posted on my IG a picture of me inside of the Z Gallery store saying, when life hands you lemons, just go to Z Gallery. Because literally that morning, life handed me a whole bowl of lemons. And when I walked in Z Gallery, I wasn't 100% like over the moon happy, but it did like kind of do something to my mood. So probably the food too, because we went out to eat too. But yeah, so I was really telling the truth about that IG post. But yeah, so that was my Sunday, guys. Disaster at the house. I went back late last night because my uncle and his family wanted to come over and see the property. And so I loaded up my car again, loaded up my uncle's car with some stuff, and we went over there. When we came over there, it was probably like around 6 o'clock, 6:15 when we got there. All the water on the floor was dry. Of course, the fans were still blowing on the floor, so the floors were dry. They didn't seem to be warped, but I'm going to check them again today because I just want to make sure that underneath the tiles is dry too. So I'm fingers crossed that the floors aren't warped down there. We turned the fans from facing the floor at that point to the ceiling just to make sure that all the drywall kind of aired out. My uncle was telling me it would be good if we had heaters, or at the very least heat in the house, because that would help dry out the drywall as well. But again, the heat's not working. So we tilted the fans up towards the walls and the ceilings. So I'm going over there now to check on that. But last night when we went, a lot of the water that was on the drywall that was visible had kind of dried, and you could just see the damage that was left basically. But if you touch the back of, because I have a utility closet right there, off the basement family room, and if you touched like the back of, if you went in there and touched like the back of some of the drywall, you could still tell that it was damp, so it wasn't dry all the way through. So I'm headed there now to just get an update, I guess, and see how things are going. I may have to rent some heaters to dry that space out, but again, I'm really hoping that the seller agrees to replace some drywall, because I do not want that to mold and mildew. That would be horrible, and that would give me a headache, and that would be a nightmare. So we'll see. Some people said that it would be okay once it dried and they just repaired, you know, the areas that were visibly damaged, and then other people are like, no, eventually mold and mildew may grow on it, so you don't know, blah blah blah. So we'll see. But again, I didn't get a call from the contractor today, so before I call my realtor and call the seller, I want to go to the property just to make sure that he just didn't go there without me knowing it. So that was my day. I just wanted to let you guys know about my Sunday. I hope your Sunday was a lot better than mine, but I will talk to you in the next video, and hopefully the next video, like I said, I'm off tomorrow, so I'm gonna try to go to the house during the day, get some steal some daylight and film the home decor haul for you guys. I have 2 of them actually, one small and one's actually very large. So until then, I will see you guys later. Bye.